Plenty of talent behind him on the depth chart. Maroon team, the winners of the toss. They want the ball first.
Battle for the backup quarterback spot. In college football today, you have to have multiple guys ready to play, and with the departure of Nick Starkel, finding a backup is paramount for this team.
On the inside, handoff to Jacob Kubota, the redshirt sophomore out of Baton Rouge. They try and get back to the original line of scrimmage on the opening.
Certainly found one last year.
Here's the first snap for Mond, and he lets it go down the sideline. It's short and taken away. Clifford Chapman, the junior who missed last year with injury.
A meeting last year with a very, very well-known offensive coordinator said, I can get a guy open on every play, and I can tell that quarterback where it's going to be and when he needs to throw it. So it's pretty amazing how advanced this offense is compared to how simple it is in other places.
Deep throw, sideline, incomplete, with two defenders trailing on the play today. And the receiving core hit pretty strongly among those, with 4 of the top 6 names you might expect to see sitting out. One you will see next year is Cameron Buckley.
Really good pieces. Some guys that are going to be stars sooner than later here in College Station.
Mond wanted to go across the middle. He did with tight coverage and finds Osmond to make the catch.
Me and Craig.
Well, Mond started off with an interception. Like you said, getting in rhythm. He's completed his last 5 throws. With time down the sideline, tucks it in, and that's a touchdown to Buckley. The white squad strikes first.
Well, if that tells you anything, that deep pockets, but they've made the right hires. You can go out and spend money recklessly all you want, but you got to go out and hire the right guy, and they certainly have done that in football with what they've done with Jimbo Fisher, and it feels like they've gotten it right, of course. Now they're going to have some pretty stiff competition. They went out and made that a position of priority on the recruiting trio. They went and got a JUCO guy who they feel good about, so this secondary might look vastly different here a couple months from now. This too often last year, there were mix-ups in the secondary, and guys got beat.
First down run to the +40 for Kubota, who keeps the
talented. But they think those guys can play early and be a factor.
And we get a look at Baylor Cupp, the freshman tight end, early enrollee who makes the catch, and the ball is loose, out of bounds along the sideline after the white team had snatched it away, and Leon O'Neal had fallen on top of it.
They know that Corbin's going to be a guy. There's no denying that. Just got to find a couple other pieces to be able to complement Corbin throughout the season.
On third down on the rollout, incomplete.
Jimbo's not going to be happy here. So I think in a perfect world for him, he'd redshirt this year and then contend to be the starter potentially here in a couple years.
First 2 incomplete passes were thrown wide. That one slips away.
That we've learned from Jimbo Fisher, though, he's going to try to simulate game reps as best as he possibly can. And outside of the quarterbacks getting hit, this is the real deal.
Well, that pays off to perfection. They needed 17 yards, and they get all the way.
The guy happier than me right now is Cole as he watches this offensive line do work in the trenches.
Although that time finding themselves getting bumped backward.
Situation, can't put the team first. Nick Starkel put the team first all of last year, and you can't help but root for him and hope that things work out for the best.
Hard charging up the sideline, Kubota. Played in 6 games in his career, just 1 last year. The redshirt sophomore out of Baton Rouge.
Offensive linemen are rushing in one particular direction. The offensive line, they don't have eyes in their back of their head. They don't know where the quarterback is. So when you change the launch point as a mobile quarterback, sometimes those defensive linemen who are at the field zones, they have to adjust routes depending on what the defender's doing. So that takes time as well.
3rd and 10, and yet another third down, a big pickup. It's about 15 yards, make it 14.
Explosiveness offensively. Their wide receivers went up and grabbed the ball out of the air so many times last year. That's what Jimbo's trying to get out of this receiver group.
Long rollout leads to a wide open grab and a touchdown for Baylor Cupp. 31 yards as he came down the seam and found himself in great position.
Yep, right there. Little snag concept inside, snag flat 7. It was a good deal, right? A good read. He had a corner read. He had the flat when they run to the flat to give him a low inside.
On defense here, good run look.
4-2. They're coming down man coverage. Naked. Got to get see if he can play it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I love it. Great play right there. And what he did, he avoided negative play too.
Talking about recruiting, though, and the great class they're bringing in, it'll be third in the country for this class of 2019. And recruiting in the state of Texas has been great,
but now they can go to California. They can go to Pennsylvania and recruit where they've gone. They can go to the Northeast, and people resonate with Texas A&M football. That wasn't always the case, so it's been huge. Field like they could get on a nice little run, get some momentum going prior to playing at Georgia, which will, of course, will be a very difficult test as well.
Blumrick evades pressure, throws into traffic, and he's picked off. Second interception of the game. Mon threw the first, and this is picked off by Moses Reynolds.
He just broke the ball off and what you can do physically, and that's not it, not at this league.
So short field for Mond and company. One play, and it's a score as he hits Glenn Beal, the sophomore tight end, from 29 yards out. Mond has his second touchdown pass of the first half. They try to cut down on the sacks, retooling the offensive line this year. He was sacked 34 times last year in Power 5 conferences. Only Joe Burrow.
And in practice, he had a little smile on his face, and he loves it, man. He's all about toughness and physical at the line of scrimmage.
Third down hits his window as he finds Buckley short of the first down.
That up. That's a really well thrown ball, high and outside to a big target.
Blocker in front for Calzada, who's back toward the part of that huge recruiting class, which right now they've got 8 players on campus in the incoming class, so still 17 more to go once camp starts up over.
Will likely to continue to be a destination place for tight ends.
They're happy to continue to turn over every last rock, stone, pebble.
Now, and that's one thing that I think Jimbo has done the right job of doing. That recruiting class, yes, highly regarded, but they also feel like they have some guys that have big-time potential that are just beginning to.
One more snap, first half. A trio of defenders waiting back at the goal line as this sails wayward out of bounds, and the first half comes to a close.
Just admiring Miami teams and Notre Dame teams and Nebraska teams, because just whoever was good, you kind of fell in love with them and liked them for a certain amount of time.
Here's Kellen Mond to start the second half, 10 for 14 in the first half as he looked pretty sharp.
The quarterback, you go through center quarterback exchange the first thing every day, not in practice, before practice. That's just something that you know you have to come out and do. And I don't know if there's a lot of other groups that I'm extremely confident in. Auburn brings all their kids back, but they didn't play great ball last year. They got a little bit better towards the end of the season, but I'm not going to tell you that's the standard of offensive line play in the league.
Mond unleashes, nearly has the completion between the hash marks deep downfield for Buckley. Sweat may have had the largest hand I've ever shaken. Couldn't have been a nicer guy, but he absolutely could have crushed my hand.
He's a big dude, no doubt. Defensive.
Those things this year, it won't be as big of a concern, Mike.
I can tell you this much. They'll be tough. You know, they might not be uber talented. They might not have first rounders across the board like they had 6-7 years ago. But they'll be tough, man. There's no denying, which I think he can grow. Managing the game, understanding situations, and having a better feel within the pocket of knowing when that all
the time, but you can steal runs and formations, and what's a better way to create a one-on-one outside and a run-pass option than getting a pro formation?
Or when that group of freshmen get here in the summer and the fall.
This is a young team. I mean,
But they have 8 seniors on this team?
Yeah, 6 that really
seniors.
play.
6 seniors on the whole team.
I mean, it's a young team that is poised to do really big things. And look, the schedule's brutal this year, and maybe this won't be the year that they really break through. Amazing to watch that game, and to see too, knowing that this team had struggled in November to finish, to see just how quickly that wasn't the case anymore, to beat LSU for the first time since they've been in the SEC, it was amazing.
Going for it here on 4th down. A bounce to the edge and a solid tackle as Kubota goes down, and he's short of the first down marker. I
think was great for the league and great for that rivalry.
I can think of another rivalry I'd really like Texas A&M to play. Hopefully that gets scheduled here sooner than later.
7.5 minutes to go. Running clock here, 4th quarter, and 3rd down and 5 for Mon in the offense. She's looked pretty sharp today. It's incomplete on 3rd down. What's next?
Whereas Calzada is more of a thrower. So a thrower is naturally probably going to look a little more comfortable in a setting in which they can't be tackled. So it's not really fair to have a great evaluation of them, but I think all should be encouraged by some of the things they've been able to do.
He wants to go long, first throw. Oh, what a grab along the sideline. It started with one hand for Moses Reynolds. He takes it away for the throw intended for Preston.
You got the whole repertoire.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on the Cole Kubelik train.
We talked about the end of the first half for Calzada. This is a great opportunity for James Foster now to operate in a 2-minute drill in a backed up, gotta have it game-like situation.
And that ball's taken away. So both quarterbacks, it's McCoy, the linebacker, with the interception. Give it away within the 2-minute window.
Very realistic as the clock continues to run. I don't know if they blew whistle down in bounds.
And Kubota goes through the middle for the touchdown. So over 100 yards on the ground for him. The score to complement about 50 receiving yards as well.
What's the ball? Is he trying to control it too much?
He's just got to understand how to adjust his arm and change the velocity. He's just such a thrower that he kind of throws the same speed almost.
Bigger challenges to being able to repeat or perhaps even improve on the 9-win season from a year ago in year number 2 under Jimbo Fisher.
Matter of whether or not it shows on the win-loss record.
Davis with a try from 55, and it's no good to bring us to the end of the maroon and white game. 17-14 final score. Final impressions from you guys?
Very impressed. I mean, solid performance. Still have some things you need to iron out, but Cole, all in all, I would say that was a very well-played, well-executed spring game against a team that is on an upward trajectory.